everyone. So we wanted to just make this update really fast for you guys. If you have been watching me for a little while or you've seen my last video or anything, I told you that I would update you when we received the biopsy results for Shaden's cancer journey. Basically, we received the call last Wednesday that it did come back positive for cancer. His tumor was malignant, and so he does have cancer cells in his body. We don't have a lot of information right now. We got the call from his surgeon, the person who removed the tumor from his hip. He wanted to basically call us personally. I think this was kind of normally with these types of situations, I think they're kind of like an in-office.
Yeah,
or like,
they usually do them in person.
Right, like a face-to-face type of thing. But because we got the biopsy results, they were marked priority before, and so we got them fairly quickly, but we were going to discuss them at his next appointment, which was supposed to be last Friday. So I think...
so 2 days after we got the call.
Right, exactly. So we were supposed to, I think, just discuss the results then, but because the results did come back malignant and they wanted to start getting going on a bunch of other appointments, he wanted to get to us personally before the scheduler called us and was like trying to set up all these different appointments with like oncology and stuff like that.
Because the next day he said on the phone someone was supposed to call us to schedule these appointments, and he wanted to make sure he talked to us before that, so when we got a call scheduling all these random appointments, we weren't just in the dark about the situation.
So basically, we went to the appointment, and after we received the call, they kind of dropped that bomb on us, but then nobody did end up calling us.
We never got the call Thursday.
Right.
We were waiting for it all day, because after they told us the news, we didn't fully get the rest of what he was saying. All we knew is that someone was supposed to be calling us the next day to discuss it more.
I think once we heard the confirmed diagnosis, we just kind of, you know, when you just receive that kind of news, you kind of like go into shock a little bit.
It kind of made everything else in the conversations kind of not stick out in my memory at all. So right as soon as we got it,
so we got the call on Wednesday. We were supposed to get another call on Thursday, and then his appointment was already set up for Friday.
Right.
So we sat on this news basically for 2 days, and it was torture, kind of just being in that limbo, just knowing he had cancer but not knowing basically anything beyond that. So we went ahead and went to his post-op appointment, which that's what it was just supposed to be. It was just a post-op appointment, just to like check on the surgical site, check on his scar, check on the stitches and stuff, and it obviously turned into a little bit more than that. So we spoke with the surgeon, and we did get the name of the cancer, and it's got a pretty long name, but essentially it's a nerve cancer. So we kept asking questions, you know, and he was trying to answer them to the best of his ability, I think, but a lot of them he was just saying basically like that would be a great question for oncology. That would be
he's not his specialty, so he didn't answer almost anything.
Right. So like he said, it's not his specialty. So I think he just didn't want to answer for not only like legal reasons, but just because he didn't want to give us like misinformation. What we do know as far as right now is that now that we have the confirmed diagnosis, things are going to be happening pretty quickly. We have full body scans coming up that we have scheduled. They want to go in and do another surgery. We want to do a redaction. So basically they're going to go in and take more of the circumference around his hip and scrape more of the tissue to kind of try and keep it localized. Tumor board meets on Wednesdays, so they're going to be discussing his case with the tumor board, and then we have an appointment with the oncology team, all coming up within the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
And I did want to address something that I got a comment on my last video that was something that I felt like I needed to address, and that was basically someone commented that, why have you been putting cancer update in the title if you didn't even know if it was cancer or not? Basically, to kind of reiterate what we were saying earlier, is that we didn't have the confirmed diagnosis. But that's, you know, we've been kind of dealing with this process for about over a year now. Like if you've been watching my channel for a while, or you've been kind of following this series of videos, I've been putting cancer in the title because they were kind of upfront with me. At first we were told it was a benign tumor, but then once we started getting more tests, they were upfront with me about what they were testing for and what this was all kind of going for. So I wanted to put that in the link because originally that's what, you know, the first title of the first video was "My son might have cancer," and so it was an update to that, you know, that video, this series of videos. It was an update to this situation. And even though we didn't have the confirmed diagnosis up until this point, you know, I put it in the title for that reason, and also for people who were specifically looking for these videos to kind of group them all together so that they weren't just regular vlogs, that they knew that this was like an ongoing updated situation. I thought that was a really great question, and I didn't want anyone to feel like I was misleading them, but that's why I've been doing that so far. And now that we have that official diagnosis, it's, you know, I think as far as what I've been feeling since we got the confirmed news is mostly just shock. You know, definitely shock right away after hearing the news. Even though I feel like, again, that, you know, we've been leading up to this point for a long time, just to have it like confirmed is, you know, it's just like a whole other level. I don't know if it's fully sunk in for me yet, but what we are about to face, or maybe not face, I don't think we really even know as of right now what even lies ahead. Maybe it could be...
Obviously the best case scenario is we get our scans done, they don't find anything else, they do the redaction, they don't see any other cancer cells around the area, and it was all just encapsulated. Yes, it was cancerous, but it was encapsulated, and during the surgery it was all removed, and that's the end of the story.
Right.
That's the best case scenario, and honestly the only news at this point that would make pretty much any of this okay, because it's done. What else is there to worry about? Anything other than that obviously is going to be a little bit devastating, and I think after we get any kind of confirmation or any kind of news or anything like that is when it's finally going to fully hit and sink in. Not to say that it hasn't already, but as Sarah said, this is something we've been dealing with for the better part of a year. We haven't really talked to Shaden much about the situation. He knows that he's been to the doctors a lot.
Yep.
He knows that he had a surgery. He knows that his bump is gone. That's about the extent of what he understands. We haven't had any kind of big talk with him. We haven't had any kind of preparation talks with him.
Right, it's been on a very need-to-know basis.
Yeah, it's... because honestly, we don't know ourselves.
Right.
So why put, you know, our own fears into him without any kind of rhyme or reason to him? Because he doesn't understand. He doesn't really know, and I can't ever really expect him to, especially at how young he is. Once we get the scans done, at the very least, hopefully we'll have some kind of answer and have some direction of where we're going next.
Right.
Because right now, we're still kind of just in the dark.
Obviously, we'll try and answer any questions that you guys might have to the best of, you know, my ability and what we know so far, which isn't much. We'll hopefully know more once we meet with the oncology team, which has already been scheduled. We have like I said, the full body scan scheduled. I will try and update you guys, if not recording the actual appointments, at least doing maybe like another one of these sit-down videos, because sometimes that's just easier. I was going to try and record the appointment on Friday, and I attempted to maybe try and, you know, vlog a little bit basically in the morning time, but it was just a really heavy day, and I really wanted to be more present and not have to worry about recording. We did record a lot of the discussions that I had with the doctor, but that was more for like record keeping and informational purposes.
Right.
And I just did not feel up to recording that day, and it just was not. I just did not feel up to it. It was a very heavy day for us, for everyone involved. And I don't know how I'm going to feel in the future, but if I don't manage to record actual appointments, then I will probably try and just update with sit-down vlogs like this, and again, try and answer everyone's questions to the best ability that we can, and we'll just go from there. That's all we have to update for right now. We'll try and make more updates in the future as we find out more information, and we'll see you in the next video.